neighbor, shh. Tell your neighbor, shh. When we say getting started on time, we believe in getting started on time. There's a word I want people to repeat. Ahuru. Say it again. Ahuru. 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 We're here today to recognize an incredible milestone. I want to just take a moment to ask for silence. Silence for those enslaved people who came here in 1767. A moment of silence for the man Kunta Kinte and those 98 unnamed slaves. Kunta Kinte, who came in chains in 1767, before George Washington would go to the State House and resign from the Continental Congress some 20 years later. This is a special day, a special moment. The gentleman that was playing the drum is the chair of the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Where's David? Is David still with us? There you are. David, can you come forward? I want these people to give you a round of applause. This brother is on time. I want you to know who he is. Just want to recognize David. David and I were together today on a call, and here he is. Thank you again, David. Now, I know something that all of you know, that there is a power in the universe that put wetness and water and blue in the sky and allow birds to fly. And there's a people who understand spirituality, who understand what God is capable of doing. It's my pleasure to bring one of his representatives here who will open us up with prayer. The Reverend Kinte-Alex, pastor of Asbury Broadneck United Methodist Church. Reverend Kinte-Alex, let's give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon. All right, we're gonna try that again. Y'all are gonna sit out here in the chill. You might as well at least participate. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And I bring you greetings from one of the ancestral lands I have been fortunate to discover, Sierra Leone. Just got back. Let us pray. The early 20th century visionary Marcus Garvey said, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." We're here today, oh God, to mark a quarter of a century since this memorial was placed here at Annapolis City Docks. Many have come to appreciate it and take pictures with it. Others have attempted to deface it. But memorials are necessary as they remind us of the ground we have already covered, the gains already made, and encourages us that for whatever we have accomplished in the past, we have so much farther to go. In Annapolis, oh God, we have memorials to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., the Civil Rights Foot Soldiers Memorial, celebrating those who participated in the historic March on Washington in August 1963, the Alex Haley Memorials, and others. We erect these memorials with the hope that their presence will make it harder to Photoshop those memories and accomplishments out of the collective understanding of our history. This is significant because we live in, as one former president said, a fact-free era in the United States of America. But we understand, oh God, that ignoring facts does not make them untrue. We ignore them at our own peril. And now more than ever, it is important for us to learn about our history and celebrate it in the face of all efforts to diminish, degrade, and disappear actual history. Jorge Santayana said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." There's no greater challenge we face as a not yet United States of America, who truly desire one day to become the more perfect union posited in the preamble of our Constitution, than to learn from our history, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And so we come on this day, O Lord, to celebrate a chronicler of history, Kinte-Haley, a man who was not afraid to take an unvarnished look at what has happened in the past, to share it broadly and widely, and to challenge us to learn from it and do better in the future. We pray that memorials, books, and the like will compel us to search more deeply for the truth, and not from a lens with a predetermined outcome in mind. In Scripture it says that the truth will set us free. I pray for the day that it not be far off when we will seek the truth first above all things, benefit from its lessons, and be the better for it. Lord, in your name we place all of these matters before you, confident that according to your will, you will make it so. We give you charge of this event and this celebration, and do what only you can do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Now we have the presentation of the colors by the Annapolis Police Department Color Guard. David, you want to come? Would David Stansbury please come forward? march on to victory. Is won. God of our weak is a God of our silent tears. Thou who hast won us thus far on the way. Thou who hast led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we rest our feet straight from the places our God will rest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forgive thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our God, true to our God, true to our little plan.
Left face. Forward.
You may be seated. The year was 1968. The man that was speaking on that occasion was Martin Luther King Jr. In a matter of moments, he would be taken away. It's not the first time. In February of 1965, a man who would take the name Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, better known to the world as Malcolm X, would lose his life. And in both of those instances, there were women who wanted to make sure that their purpose would not be lost in life. Dr. Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King continued the vision that they had. I'm so honored to be able to introduce a woman. When Leonard Blackshear died, Leonard Blackshear who had this vision, Leonard Blackshear who could see this city dock being more inclusive. I will never forget the day that he, Dr. Patsy Blackshear, and I, and then the former county executive, Janet Owens, met. Leonard kept emphasizing over and over again, he was ill at the time, the need to make sure that this particular project that was underway would be completed. And he made the county executive promise that she would fund the program, and she did. And I so admire the woman that's going to bring us occasion. There's something about a woman who has the capacity and understand when others don't, the need to make sure that the vision is not lost. And just as in the case of Dr. Betty Shabazz, and in the case of Coretta Scott King, our next speaker understood that the vision that her husband had and to continue. Please welcome to the podium Dr. Patsy Baker Blackshear.
Good afternoon, everybody. Carl mentions my name with some of the greats. It is wonderful to be mentioned in that context, but Carl, I'm not there, honey. How many of you were here in 1999 when this memorial was placed? Let me see a hand. Okay, we got some hands. And for those of you who were not here in 1999, how many of you heard about it from friends and relatives? Okay, I see a few more. Well, I've had an opportunity to interact over the last couple of months with young people who have been talking to me about this memorial, and guess what? They were born 1 year afterwards, or they were born 1 year before. That's how long-lasting this memorial has been in terms of making a statement here in this community. Well, on December 9th, 1999, it was a glorious day. It was a historic day. It was a cold day, not like today. You notice I have my coat off, so it's not as cold. And I'm going to tell you something. This guy right here, Kinte-Haley, said all you had to do was put a knife in a glass that's half full of water and you can stave off the rain. Well, Chris, it worked. He staved off the rain. Now, I don't know where he got that from, but he got it from somewhere. So it has been 25 years of families starting their family reunions at this site. 25 years of making the memorial the point of meeting for friends. 25 years of just taking pictures and children interacting with Alex in his lap or with the children in front of Alex. That's what Leonard wanted. He wanted an icon that was something that people would interact with, something that the young kids would enjoy as they traveled along this way. So this occasion is important, not only because it is the day that the Lord has made, but it is a day that allows us to stop for just a moment and think about the importance of this icon to the city, to the county, to the state, and to all those many families who see it as an important landmark for us. This occasion is also important because, like our families, our history, and our tradition, the Alex Haley statue grouping reflects a continuing legacy within this community. So the board of directors that started this Kunta Kinte-Alex Haley Foundation and built this memorial also was the same board of directors that started the Kunta Kinte Festival. And so Alex used to come to the festival every year. And after his death, they decided that we should have a permanent statement about the importance of legacy, the importance of family, the importance of history. So that's what he's doing as he reads to these young kids. My husband, Leonard A. Blackshear, led that effort as president of the board of directors of both groups. He was a dedicated businessman and community organizer. He included his love for so many different community groups. He loved the Parole Rotary. He loved the big project, Books for International Goodwill. He actually started the big project, Books for International Goodwill, as he started so many things. But he was persistent in his support for this memorial, as Carl indicated. For nearly a decade, folks, of hard work, he led the efforts to raise the funds, obtain the approvals, identify the artisans, and see the memorial through to its completion. And as his wife for almost 35 years, you can be assured I got tired of him talking about this memorial. So during the last 25 years, the foundation's presence has remained steadfast in supporting the care of this memorial. It needs to be maintained. We have continued to provide educational programs about African American history and African American heritage, and we will continue to do so. We have to continue to promote and advance African American accomplishments and achievements throughout this county, and we will continue to do so. During the past 25 years, the foundation has ensured that this community and this area and overall understands the importance of this memorial to the community, and we will continue to promote this memorial. And during the last 25 years, the foundation has promoted the legacy of Alex Haley's contribution to becoming the genealogy father within our country, actually within our world. If you're not aware of it, our whole effort for genealogy research started with guess who? Alex Haley's book, Roots. And we will continue to promote the importance of genealogy research. So join us today in this celebration of this amazing, long-standing, and long-lasting icon of the importance of family, the importance of history, the importance of family heritage and genealogy. I thank you for being with us this day. I thank you for being here to celebrate this event and this icon. Thank you so very much.
Let's give her another round of applause. You know, women, it's always interesting when it comes to women, because oftentimes, and Patsy made this comment, put her in the greatness of Dr. Chavez, or in the greatness of Coretta Scott King. Having had the pleasure of meeting both of them in my lifetime, Patsy, you're in the right company. There's no question. The older I've gotten, the more important I've understood the importance of knowing history and being able to make sure that people don't forget. There's something that's going on right now at this moment, and I don't want people to forget it. Before I introduce our speaker, First Lady, anybody under the age of 17, Josh, I want you to come forward. Anybody under the age of 17, please come forward. Any young person in this audience under the age of 17, please come forward. Josh, please come forward. Quickly. You will stand right here. Here's the reason why I'm asking them to come forward, because of our next speaker. Sometimes we just don't appreciate history. Years later, these young people are going to know something. They're going to know that the next speaker is created in her own right. She's a history maker. I was so proud of her and her husband, the governor. When Governor Moore was inaugurated, it was Governor Moore and the First Lady, Dawn Moore, that started here at the Kunta Kinte Memorial and led a group of people to the State House, a State House that enslaved people built. Now for some, that symbolism was missed, but not for me. When I saw the First Lady and the Governor going to the State House, I understood what Leonard Blackshear had hoped for had come true. We are so quick to not appreciate our history. 25 years after this memorial was built, President Barack Obama was elected. 25 years after this memorial was built, Vice President Kamala Harris was elected. In Maryland, we have this incredible moment in history. An African-American governor, an African-American Attorney General, an African-American Speaker of the House, the Treasurer, and the largest legislative Black caucus. And I will never forget what it was that Governor Moore, every time I see him, he says this. He says, "I know whose shoulders I stand upon." I want these two young people to meet a woman. They will be able to tell their children and their grandchildren, I met the first African-American First Lady. That was my experience. Please join me in welcome to the podium our First Lady, Maryland's First Lady, Sister Dawn Moore. Would you please come forward? And before she gives her remarks, I'm going to make sure you get to shake her hand. This is our First Lady. Yes.
Wow. Oh my goodness. This is I'm almost in tears, and everybody knows I don't really cry that much. But I have to thank you, Carl, because, you know, when I first stepped foot into Annapolis, your name always rang bells, as they say. And you are an icon, and you are a leader. And we are here because of the likes of Carl Stokes. So I thank you so much. And I thank these young men. You don't have to stand up here. If that's okay, you may go back to your seats. I thank you so much. But give it up for them, because I know sometimes I got young ones, and it's not always easy when we adults are telling them what they should do and how to do it. But that's what makes great Americans, when you have great guidance from your parents and from your elders. So thank you for being here today. So I am so honored to be here, and it is a beautiful day. I thank you for that rendition of the Black National Anthem. Let's give it up for that one. I said we brought the sun out with that one. The sun started shining. I think everybody noticed that. But I do bring greetings from my husband, the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland. He is the first African-American governor in the history of this state. He is the third in the history of this country, and he is the only sitting Black governor in this country. I am truly honored to be here on behalf of my husband and the entire Moore-Miller administration. I'd love to just acknowledge the following guests. I want to thank Dr. Blackshear for your tireless efforts, for continuing your husband's legacy, for being an example to women like me. I thank you so much for your leadership. Our good friend, Mayor Gavin Buckley, our other good friend and County Executive Stuart Pittman, members of the Gambian delegation. I believe the Anne Arundel County School Superintendent, Dr. Mark Bedell, may be here. We thank you for your leadership. I don't see Lady Breon yet, but I believe she is going to be here. Oh, there she is. That's my sister there. Thank you to the Maryland Poet Laureate. We appreciate you so much. Chris and Bill and family and distinguished guests. Most people know me as Maryland's First Lady, but I also have raised my hand to serve. I've been a champion for Marylanders across more than two decades of public service to our state. And that's why today is a full circle moment for me. I was here on this day in 1999 when we dedicated the Alex Haley sculpture to this space. And at that time, I was a staffer myself, working for the 59th governor of the state then, Governor Paris Glendening. And I certainly never thought I'd be married to a governor, but here I am. And then I was here last year, I was here a couple years ago to mark the inauguration of the 63rd governor, my husband, Wes Moore. We honored the history of enslaved people during a wreath-laying ceremony. And then we marched from the Annapolis Docks to the Maryland State House, as Carl shared. And along the way, a street musician started to sing Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come." And I chaired the inauguration of my husband, but I did not plan him, the man that was standing there singing that song. We had never seen that musician before, and we never saw him after. And that was the kind of day it was. Now we gather again to rededicate this sacred place, to honor the unbreakable spirit of the men and women who were brought here in chains, and to carry Alex Haley's enduring legacy forward. At a time when history is questioned, at a time when history is suppressed, we affirm Maryland as a place that celebrates and commemorates our history. The Kunta Kinte-Alex Haley Memorial is the only monument in the country that honors both the name and the place of arrival of an enslaved African ancestor. This monument matters, and this monument is necessary. On behalf of our entire administration, I want to thank you for helping our state to preserve this beautiful memorial for the last 25 years. Wes and I are committed to working alongside you to ensure that our state's history and legacy are never forgotten. Since taking office, we've invested in preserving the link to our past and the bridge to our future, like Alex Haley taught us. We've partnered with organizations from the Banneker Douglas Tubman Museum to the Maryland Center for History and Arts and Culture. And we also continue to open up Government House to Marylanders from all walks of life to find solutions to our most pressing challenges. And if you come to Government House during the holidays, which I invite you and I encourage you to, you will see a new memorial that was hand-painted by an artist in Baltimore that has a picture of this beautiful, or a painting of this beautiful memorial to honor this moment. You will see that in Government House. But there's still more to do. But I'm confident that with partnership and leadership of this community, we will continue to build a more equitable and just future for all. And let me end with this. We find ourselves at a pivotal moment in our state and in our country. So much is uncertain and so much is unclear. But today reminds us of something important. Our people have been here before. I will say it again, our people have been here before. And we've seen challenges and we've overcome them. We faced battles and we've won them. And this time will be no different. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm truly honored to be here with all of you today. God bless you, and God bless our country, and God bless the state of Maryland.
Let's give our First Lady another round of applause. Madam First Lady, before you go, I've got a presentation to you, real quick.
We have just a little token here of the foundation for you so that you can look at, yes please, so you can look at the memorial from your desk as your husband is working you very hard this year.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you.
Our next speaker, somebody, I tell him this all the time. Every time I see him, I tell him I love you. And I really do. Dr. Mark Bedell is one of these incredible human beings. The impact that he's having on our school system is just phenomenal. I want to have him come and he will introduce one of our students. I'm just so proud of Dr. Mark Bedell. Please come forward. Our superintendent here in Anne Arundel County.
All right, so on the agenda, I didn't know I was following the First Lady. Okay, I think that was a setup. So I'm gonna run through my remarks real quick because we have a phenomenal student that we want to bring up. But I wanna thank each and every single one of you who are here today. Extend a good afternoon to each of you. I am honored to be here today on behalf of our students and our school system to celebrate this milestone. As I stand in the shadow of this magnificent memorial, what is not lost on me is the incredible opportunity I have been given as the first African American male superintendent of the 4th largest school system in Maryland and the 37th largest school district in the country. And I really want to publicly thank 3 of the board members who are here today responsible for making that decision to bring me here. Thank you. There are many people who have come before me who were not given such an opportunity. It is my obligation to do this work on behalf of our students, but also for those who never had a chance to do this job. I also can't help but think of the ongoing education this memorial signifies. It would have been easy for those who constructed this memorial to have made it a statue of Kinte-Haley and Kunta Kinte. Instead, this is a far more appropriate commemoration of the tireless efforts to educate all of us. The diversity of the children to whom Kinte-Haley is reading is both important and very intentional. The stories of his family's history and the role that this city and area played in it are both important and intentional. The story wall, an ongoing chronicle of new life in a new place, is both important and intentional. In this place, we remember how the story of one man, Kunta Kinte, became the journey of countless numbers of men and women. Our remembrance cannot be occasional, and it cannot be by chance. We could choose, as many do, to ignore the history of what happened at this dock centuries ago. We could ignore the slave port marker. We can ignore the covenants that have placed more importance on color than capability and held people back. I have receipts. These are racially restrictive covenants that I've obtained from employees within the school district. There's also documentation of African American, well-to-do community members, even in the mid-60s, who were not even allowed to purchase property here in Annapolis. So, as a superintendent, it is my responsibility that we do not fail our student by omitting historical occurrences that truly took place because we're worried about what people feel we may be indoctrinating children. Receipts are receipts, and that's history. Instead, we must neither ignore nor change our history, but embrace it. We must embrace our history for what it is, understand how we got to where we are, and to stand together to forge a better path. That is the endless legacy of this monument. And we have a long way to go, everybody. Our ancestors fought hard, and they died, so that we could get up and vote. They did so not because they wanted to be a part of a political race, but because they wanted to be fully part of the human race. So to the countless people who came before us, represented in this place by Kunta, Kinte-Haley, and all those involved in this memorial, I simply say thank you. Thank you for giving a voice to the courage and perseverance that has and will continue to shape our lives. Thank you for the commitment you showed. It is a commitment we carry with us today, not to censor history, but to understand it and to use it to shape our path forward as we help every young person we educate to truly belong, grow, and succeed. It is my honor at this time to introduce to you one of those young people, a young man with an incredibly bright future attending Annapolis Middle School. Everybody welcome Keon Anderson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keon Anderson, and I'm an 8th grade student at Annapolis Middle School. I'm also a future mental health therapist and PhD candidate. I just wanted to say it's truly an honor to have the opportunity to speak at the 25th anniversary of the Alex Haley Memorial. Alex Haley believed that the understanding of one's history and heritage was essential to personal and community empowerment. His work reminds us that education, both formal and informal, should inspire a sense of identity and purpose and resilience in young people. Today, as I stand before this memorial, I feel a sense of hope and inspiration. It reminds me that I can always dream big, love myself, and embrace my story. It gives me the courage to reach for my goals, pursue my ambitions, and make a huge difference in the world. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this meaningful celebration.
Let's give that young man another round of applause. We have some very distinguished elected officials that's present. We're going to have a former history maker in his own right. Thurl Jones became the first African-American male to get elected to the Anne Arundel County Council, and he will now introduce elected officials who are with us, both present and former.
Thank you, Carl. And I've been provided this list. If I do not say your name, I did not put this list together, and someone will bring it to my attention. We have with us, and you've heard from the First Lady of the state of Maryland, Dawn Moore. We also have with us today my friend, County Executive of Anne Arundel County, Stuart Pittman. Stuart? We also have with us Delegate Shanika Henson. Shanika. We also have with us our sheriff, the first black sheriff in Anne Arundel County, Eric Sester. We also have with us Delegate Dana Jones. Dana. We also have with us Councilwoman Lisa Rodvian. Councilwoman Julie Hummer. Annapolis City Alderwoman Carmela Neal. Anne Arundel County Public School Board Member Gloria Dent. Gloria. I voted for you, Gloria. In my area. All right. Anne Arundel County Public School Board Member Joanna Tobin. Joanna. Anne Arundel County Public School Board Member Dana Schleiman. place I just left, the clerk of court for Anne Arundel County, the circuit court clerk, Scott Poirier. We also have with us the vice mayor of Highland Beach, Michelle Fuller. And we also have with us Beryl Downs. Beryl. We also have with us the former Annapolis alderperson, Gary Lippman. Let me look to see if there's a page 2. There is. They were getting nervous. We have with us Alderwoman Rhonda Pendell Charles. Councilwoman in the 2nd District, Allison Pickard. And used to be on the school board. We also have with us Alderman for the Ward 6 here in Annapolis, DeJuan Gay. We also have with us my friend, my successor, Councilman Pete Smith. If there are other elected officials that I have missed, Carl Snowden is the person you need to talk to. That is my list. Thank you, everyone.
We now have Chris Haley, who's going to bring, Chris Haley was the nephew, of course, of Alex Haley. And just before Chris comes on, I just want him to know, and the Haley family, how grateful I was to Alex Haley. Those who know me know that I'm a great admirer of Malcolm X. And to have Alex Haley sit down and share with me a perspective on Malcolm, I will never forget. Most people don't know this, but Alex Haley shared with me, it was Malcolm. It was Malcolm. It was Malcolm that inspired him. Some of you may or may not know, Alex Haley wrote the autobiography. He was the co-host of the autobiography of Malcolm X. And when I think of Alex Haley, and I think of all that he meant for this nation, I'm just so proud of the fact that Chris Haley continues the tradition of his uncle. Please welcome to the podium, my friend and yours, Chris Haley.
Hello everyone, how you doing? I'm going to do that like we're in a gospel, we're in a church, and they say, how you doing? If you don't do it high enough, then you do it again. How y'all doing? Much better. Well, thank you all for being here today. I mean, I had this vision of a rainy day. A rainy day, and we would all have to survive, persevere, get our best hair did, so that we'd be all right, for the reception later on. And then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, 150 some years ago, those people had to get on a boat. They didn't know where they were going. They couldn't have time to dress up. The people who brought them didn't have time to dress up. They did what they did because it was about money. It was about value. It was about these people who didn't know where they were going, but they had a purpose. And that purpose was to feed their ambition, to feed their greed. And because of that, because of the memory of those individuals, we stand here today to commemorate my uncle, my cousin Bill's grandfather, and the story of people who persevered. The story of people who did not give up. The story of people who decided that one day, one night, one evening, one gathering, I'm going to keep going so that my family can keep going. And because of that is why we are here today. So again, I want to thank all of you for being here. And since this is Family Reflections, I'll give you one little reflection, because otherwise it's just about glory to this and glory to that. And you're like, but they're not real people, they're not real people. So when I was a little bitty kid, I remember thinking that I wanted to be a pay boy. That's what I said, I wanted to be a pay boy. I didn't know what it meant, but it just made sense to me. I wanted to be a pay boy. I think what it meant was I wanted to be a playboy. I think that's what it meant. And I feel like it meant that because somewhere along the lines, I knew that my Uncle Alex wrote for this magazine called Playboy. And I thought he was just a slick dude, and he would come to the house, and he would give my brother Alan, who's here today, he would give us a $10 bill. This was a couple of days ago, when I was 9, he would give me a $10 bill. And even today, I don't think any of you would turn down a $10 bill. And we were just so thrilled. So I wanted to be a playboy because that's where my uncle was. And my uncle knew famous people. And I wanted to know famous people. And then at one point I thought, wouldn't it be something if I had a famous person in my life? Never thought it would happen. And then one day, when I was in high school, this miniseries that I heard about debuted. The day before, I made sure that I finished reading that book. I had it since it came out 6 months before, but I had not read it. But I thought, whatever happens with the debut of this miniseries, I better know something about it because someone may ask me. And the next day, I had that famous relative. And it wasn't only that I had a famous relative, the family name became famous too. Before that, Haley was Arthur Haley, the author of Airport. And to this day, people will spell our name H-A-I-L-E-Y. I don't know why, but they do that. So I want to thank you all again for being here and give my cousin an opportunity to speak too, because for you to be here, for you to represent, for you to appreciate what my uncle accomplished, especially with the young man who just spoke for us, because it's about the kids, it's about storytelling, it's about passing it on to another generation. It just honors me beyond all reason. Thank you very much, my cousin, Bill Haley. That's right, that's your moment.
Well, you know, I'm a little sore because Chris got $10. I only got $5. But I'm so honored and grateful to be here. And I'm grateful that all of you are here. And every time I'm here in the city of Annapolis, it's special because I live 3,000 miles away, and you know, I not that anyone takes for granted because you live here and you may come down during the summers, that this is not, the memorial is not something that I get to see very often. So I thought about all throughout the times I have been here and the people I've been here with. I've been here with my grandmother, which is very special to me. I've been here with my father on countless occasions. And I'm thinking about him today as I'm thinking about my other ancestors as well. And I just kind of want to speak on my grandfather just a little bit, because you know, Roots in its way is such it was such an iconic event, and I always take amazement at the way that things reverberate, and sometimes in many ways that we don't know or realize. So I'll share something with you that I learned, I won't say not very recently, but recently enough. Most of you probably are familiar with Public Enemy. Can I get a raise of hands? Anybody? Okay. So I didn't know for years. Now, anybody ever heard Can't Trust It? Okay. So I didn't know till recently that at the beginning of Can't Trust It, you know, you hear this kind of preamble about slave ships. And it says, there are more records of slave ships than one would dream. It seems inconceivable until you reflect that for 200 years, ships carried cargoes of slaves. You know, I was grooving to that song for years and years and years. And the voice was a little different. It just didn't hit me until I was listening to my grandfather's album when he was talking about his search for roots. And then I heard that phrase and I almost jumped out of my seat. So so if you didn't know, just know that Alex Haley's on the front side of Can't Trust It, followed by Malcolm X. Did any of you know that before that today? All right, bro. Anybody else? Okay, so I've taught something new, yay! But I just want to also just simply say that it made me think about this, about the fact that that he spent, I thought about his research a bit, the fact that he spent in the British, he was in the British archives looking for, once he was able to discover thanks to his Gambian connections, what what time of the century his ancestor may have came. He went through 1,043 records before he found the ship that he believed was the ship that Kinte came on. It was line 18 on a long sheet. But it made me just simply think about all the millions of our ancestors who were, I'm calling them heroes, who endured, who came from way across the water here and other ports, whether it was Baltimore, whether it's South Carolina, wherever you have it. They came and survived so that we could survive and flourish. And I also wanted to just mention and say this. You know, for my grandfather, I believe there were many times, and he said it, where he never thought that Roots was ever going to be finished, that he was ever going to be successful in doing it, and that he mentioned one time when he was on a ship and he owed everybody in the world and he didn't know where he was going to go, he said, I might as well just jump overboard and all my problems would be gone. But what he realized is that what seemed impossible was possible, and I'm going to leave you with this singular lesson. You know, when people say the word impossible, the word impossibilities or impossible, always remember that the word possible is inside of that. And so with that, we can accomplish anything that we want to. And the fact that we're all here today, and the fact that we have our young student reading, the fact that that we have our first black governor here, it shows what is possible. So I'm going to just say that and leave you with his famous words, find the good and praise it, because that's what we should do in our lives. Thank you.
Now we're going to have the libation. I'm Michael Twitty. Would you come forward for the libation, please?
What a great day to come back to my home state of Maryland. And yes, I said Maryland, not Maryland. I know how to say it right. Listen, I came here, thank you for the soundtrack. I came here because Chris and I have known each other for quite some time. And I never was starstruck by his family name. But I'm gonna tell you something. I came here all the way up from Virginia. And by the way, I live 30 minutes drive from the Waller plantation in which Kunta Kinte was enslaved. When we were on lockdown as a country in 2020, and they thought nobody in America could come back to America, I was in the village of Juffure in Gambia. Irony of ironies. And today, this day I'm speaking to you, I was supposed to be crossing the border from Gambia back into Senegal on a trip. But I said I did this, and I'm glad I'm here. My late mother said that I came into the world with Alex Haley's Comet, better known as Roots. And there's a word in my other tradition that we should all know, beshert, which in Yiddish means fated. I wrote a book once upon a time called Fighting Old Nep. And that book was about the foodways of enslaved Afro-Marylanders, because I wanted people to understand that we have a history here that is important, that is of national and international value, and it stretches from those 60% that were brought from Senegambia and from Ghana and from Nigeria and from Congo and other places to our present day. And then my career picked up, and I wrote a letter to Paula Deen, which went viral, and then I was offered a book contract, and I was in Memphis, Tennessee, and I told my then partner, I said, we got to go to Henning, Tennessee. I said, why? Because I want to see the house of Alex Haley's grandmother, and I want to go visit his grave. Libation. Got down on my knees and I prayed to God, and I spoke to Alex's spirit, and I said, I don't know how you did it, but I want to tell the story of my family and all African Americans through our food, from Africa to America, from slavery to freedom. And I wailed, I cried. I didn't know what to do. I said, you made it seem so possible. Can I do that? Can you please get me? I haven't even been in Africa yet. And now I've been 8 times. The Cooking Gene won 2 James Beard Awards, making me the first Black author so awarded Book of the Year. And I gotta tell you, all those cotton fields, all those soybean fields, that long way from Memphis to Henning, and then to make it several years later to the village of Jufuray, to see Kunta Kinte Island, formerly known as Fort James, where my own ancestors and many others, and to get my Mandinka name, Babe Fofana. Our Gambians will know what Babe Fofana means. Yes, it means brother, say it again, as in preach on. So I just want you to know that as we are at a point in our story as a nation where people question our right to tell our history and tell our truth, that a little black boy and many other Americans just had to know where we came from. And because of this wonderful, beautiful person, Alexander Palmer Haley, we have a chance, a fighting chance. You have to, in Africa they tell us, you have to be able to call on 7 generations. And because I went on that journey, the time I was very small, till now, I've been able to do that. But I'm able to do it because somebody had to do it first. And that's why I'm here today, to pay homage to my state, pay homage to my people, pay homage to my ancestors, some of whom were Mandinka, and pay homage to you all who are here in this chill to honor the story. So I want to give a very short libation. It's kind of based on a text that I have here, but I want to amend it. And of course, libation is our way as African people of reaching out and touching someone. I'm old enough to make that joke. Where death does not separate us from our ancestors. We are literally then brought back into the world, and then we, our descendants, will be brought back into the world, and ancestors and those coming after them. Alex often said there are 3 populations: the living, the ancestors, and those waiting to come back into the world. So we want to give a short libation to open up the heavens, to open up the channel between us and our ancestors, and to let those who are coming after us know that we know where we come from. We're going to give them that Lador Vador, generation to generation, their story and their truth. Deep in the ocean lays your spirit as you cross the Atlantic Ocean. From what is now Senegal and Gambia, from what is now Mali, from what is now Guinea-Bissau and Guinea, from what is now Sierra Leone and Liberia, from what is now Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, from what is now Ghana and Togo and Benin, from what is now Nigeria and Cameroon and Gabon, from what is now Congo and formerly Zaire, from what is now Angola and many other lands like Madagascar and Mozambique. I pray for the ancestors who were ever ill and whose bodies were inflicted with pain, beaten and thrown off of slave ships to the ocean. I pray for the ancestors whose spirits could never bear witness any longer and threw themselves into the ocean. I pray for the ancestors whose bodies made it to Cuba, Jamaica, Trinidad, Mexico, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Haiti, and various parts of the Caribbean, North and South America. I pray for the ancestors who made it to all the lands below the Mason-Dixon line and above it, who forged American wealth and paid for the freedom that we enjoy. And when it was time to fight, fought for it from the very first man to die for this country through the Civil War. I pray for the ancestors. We are humbly grateful for the preservation of your tradition. I pray for the ancestors who never made it to this soil. I pray for those who passed as soon as they set foot on the soil, and for those who beat the odds and endured to have children who would have children, who would have children, who would have children, who would have children, who became us. I pray that your spirits are elevated, that we may be enlightened and evolve towards our destiny and progress in this lifetime. I remember your spirits. I remember all those in all of our family lines. I hope that our ancestors are strengthened by our prayers, and their spirits are heightened by my affirmation and faith in our Creator. May they have forgiveness in their hearts. May I have forgiveness in my heart. May they have peace. May we have peace. May they have healing. May they have healing. May we all have understanding. May they evolve and heal in their forgotten pain. May I evolve and heal my spirit. May I be in remembrance of my path and all that the Creator has ordained for us and for me. And may all our ancestors be lifted up. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you very much for this great honor.
I want to acknowledge one of our older persons that was not acknowledged earlier. Sheila Finlayson, would you please stand? Honorable Sheila Finlayson. I would like to acknowledge her. I'll be quick. All right, it's my pleasure to introduce the mayor of the city of Annapolis, Gavin Buckley.
Who is proud to be from Maryland right now? How lucky are we? What a place. As you know, from my accent, I did not grow up here. But before I even knew what Annapolis was, I knew the name Kunta Kinte. It was a time when you would go home and watch television with your parents. And once a week, we knew that Roots was going to be on television. And for you, all of you who are not from other countries, you have to realize what effect this mini-series had on the whole world. And it is hard to imagine that a mayor opposed this, that they did not want a plaque here, that historic societies didn't believe this was part of America's history. Well, for the rest of the world, it's a huge part of America's history. So I feel so proud to be part of it by being the mayor of this amazing town. I want to let you know, if you look over where the Harbour Master's office is, that soon is going to be a brand new park that will celebrate all of our history, our good history and our bad history. There will be a middle passage marker there. But what will be amazing about this public space, it will be a place that everybody feels welcome. There are people in the community still to this day do not feel welcome, are afraid to come to the waterfront because of some perceptions. We have to change that. In the middle of our beautiful new park will be a legacy fountain. And that legacy fountain will be a great opportunity to tell all our history, not just a certain segment of our population's history. I'm so proud to be here speaking to you today. Thank you. County Executive, you coming up? Let's hear it for County Executive Pittman. You're not going to get your rained on.
We're holding off the rain. As long as we talk, it doesn't rain. No, just kidding. Look, I will be very brief because we've been out here for a long time, but I want to say that it's appropriate that we be out here for a long time. And if we get wet, so be it, right? I really wanted to be here because, first of all, I know how hard some of my staff, Tiana Parker, who's here, I know stepped up from our community engagement constituency. National Services Office went around and made sure that this organization had the funding that it needed and the infrastructure that it needed to be able to pull today off. But I also want to speak as somebody who was 16 years old when Roots was on ABC television for 8 nights in a row. I remember hearing about it coming and wondering why there was a TV show on for 8 straight nights. And I remember sitting down and watching it with my family because this was a historic moment that the country was all participating in, as I understood it. And I don't remember a lot about the details of Roots, except for the image in my mind that would never go away of this scene right here when Kunta Kinte was being auctioned. And I was old enough to know that I came from a family that could well have been here as well, not being auctioned off. And so it was uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable in the same way that some people say we shouldn't tell the history because it will make children uncomfortable. And I don't know what permanent impact it had on me or my siblings, but it made me feel better about fighting for justice instead of fighting against justice for the rest of my life. And so I really just want to say, I guess speaking for white folks in America who may or may not have been descended from people who owned Africans who had come over here on ships, that I want to thank Alex Haley and everybody who, his relatives, people who helped him do the research here in Annapolis, people who carried on this story, and absolutely the people who put this monument here so that every single day people come through and they go, oh yeah, I remember that, and they tell their kids about it. Or they go over there and they look on all those placards, the ones that can't be moved like the first one, and they read them and they understand that's what this town is about. Maybe that's what this country is about. Maybe that's what this country should be about. So I don't think anybody should underestimate the power of Roots and the power of this memorial. So thank you everybody that had anything to do with it.
We're going to have a little shift in the program. Our keynote speaker is going to speak at Benedict Douglas. We're also going to take this moment to do something I think, in fact I know, that would be appropriate. A moment ago I thought of Leonard Blackshear. Then I thought of Vincent Leggett. Then I thought of Jeff Henderson, and I thought of people who have given their lives. So for one moment, I'd just like to ask for a minute of silence. And for those of you who've come to these community meetings, I truly believe what I'm about to tell you. It's my experience. And I think of all of the problems. First Lady said it so well. If people really knew the history. There's that scene, I'll never forget it. Powerful. What is your name? Kunta. No, your name is Toby. What is your name? Kunta. And the slave master ordered Kunta Kinte to be beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten. And finally, He said, Toby. And while he's laying on the ground, bleeding, an old black man walked up to this young Kunta Kinte. And that old black man said something to him. As he's laying there bleeding, he whispered in his ear, you will always be Kunta Kinte. They can call you by another name, but you're Kunta Kinte. Lou Gossett played that part, that old black man, they called him Fiddler. Then I saw something that I want you to join me in. Followed by that, David's gonna give us a song. Then we're gonna form together and walk up Main Street. Over and over again, for those who understand the experience. What is it about a people? What is it about a people that you can beat, you can discriminate against, you can murder, you can lynch, and they never lose their humanity? What is it about these people that make them so unique? Here's what I think it is. Wherever you are, please stand. Wherever you are, please stand if you're able to. We do this at all of our community meetings. Please look at your neighbor directly in the eye, whether it's a male or a female, and just simply say, the eyes are the window to one's soul. When you look at people's eyes, that's their soul. That's who they are. Look them directly in the eye and just simply say, I love you. Let's try that one more time. You can tell when it's real. Look your neighbor directly in the eye and just simply say, I love you.
I love you.
My friends, if you didn't get that tingle, if when the person looked you in the eye and said, I love you, you didn't get that special feeling, they're not really loving you. David, would you come and give us this performance?
As I sing, will the Gambian officials go ahead and come up as we do this selection. It's okay to clap. Let's go off on a half note.
up to Banneker Douglas, who will complete the rest of this program. My understanding is the mayor, the county executive, is supposed to be part of the group that's leading us together, along with along with Patsy and the 2 members. So if we can get them to line up first. Patsy, would you show the mayor and the county executive where they should be as we line up? And if everyone would follow them, we're going to go up to Banneker Douglas to complete the program.
I'll be there anyway. It's a suburban. It's basically having the wrong 11 in the morning at some church.
But this summer though, you do something. Stop ad-libbing. Stop ad-libbing. I guess they didn't shut it down.